there's no one to talk to, and if you're a guy who likes girls, you want to go out on a date, and sometimes you want a real date. You don't want to abduct these chicks like you're used to doing. You know, you're tired of roofies and duct tape every Saturday night. You want a real date. You want a real date.
So many bands, they go on with their career, and they progress, which means their albums suck. But Slayer, it's like between albums, they put him in a block of ice. You know, like all right, it's still 1981. I had a similar problem many years ago, meeting the king of rock and roll. I met the king in 1983. No, Henry. The king died a little before that. No, rock critic boy. The king of rock and roll is alive and well, and he played at the Big Day Out a couple of years ago. First name Iggy, last name Pop. Okay? Some of you may, oh, but I beg to differ. Oh, well, I beg to differ with you. Okay, here's why you're wrong about Elvis Presley being the king of rock and roll. Yes, he was very good. He has a few songs. He could sing. I liked his hair very much. But you could take all the drugs, pharmaceuticals, barbiturates, and whatever else Mr. Presley stuffed into his face in his lifetime and put them all in one big mixing bowl. Give them to Iggy Pop circa 1975 and say, here, Iggy, have some fun. And then he would go out that night and play the show. And what would he do after the show? Probably score some drugs. And that is why he is the king, because he is
I don't know which came first, shitty rave music or the drugs, okay? Like, did these guys come up, you know, get their Macintosh computers out and hire DJ Fuckhead and get a drummer to come in and go, doo, 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 doo. Okay, thank you, you can leave. You know, they've sampled it. Doo, 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 doo. Fuckhead, DJ Fuckhead. I know talent, I know talent, no talent. I play other people's records. My friends, there is nothing like going to a Euro music festival and hanging out with these like super self-important guys who carry suitcases of records. And what are you? I'm a musician, man. I'm a DJ. You're a fucking thief of music. You're a record player. You're a DJ turntable.
Here in Australia, you have a thing called the mullet. Now, I do not know the origins of the mullet. I do not know if there's a mullet.com. I don't know if a social anthropologist has tried to find the lineage of the mullet. All I know is in Australia, I have seen some of the most dazzling displays of this hairdo, the likes of which I have never seen anywhere in Arkansas, West Virginia, or anywhere else where they think 10% slower. Now, what starts as a number 2 Clippers, that's the one that I'm wearing, a man looks into the mirror one day and he has a vision. Oh, it's not going to be 6 months from now. That mullet's going to take years. Years of careful cultivation. He's going to have to start going to a barber. Like, no, I'm aiming for a mullet. We're talking a lion-esque mullet. A mullet that will be the envy of other mulleted men and women sometimes. 2 years in, the mullet's starting to look pretty good in the back. We kind of go, and it's going over his collar. His new girlfriend has turned the top into a flat top. Looks pretty cool. 3.5 to 4 years later, that mullet now comes down to here. It's got the braided things, like the Mel Gibson Braveheart things swinging around. The girlfriend's gone all crazy on it. It's different colors in the back. And there he is at a petrol station filling up one of those rugged, kick-ass A-male vehicles that Australian men like to drive, wearing that classic Australian He-Man outfit that I just cannot for the life of me get over or understand. The one wearing those dark brown or black kick shoes, like with a rubber thing in the middle so you can slip them on, the dark blue or brown work socks, tanned, hairy, and muscular legs with the weirdest and shortest pants I've ever seen on a He-Man. Like, what are you doing in hot pants, oh man who carries cement and lumber great distances? One ball is kind of hanging down. I see you. All of a sudden, music changed right at the perfect time for me. I was very angry. I told you that. I was in high school, and no music was doing it for me.
Like, I was young. I couldn't meet girls. I went to an all-boys school. We never met girls. You go up to them like, they're like these alien creatures. You're like, and you knew you weren't going to meet any. It was awful. And so I was pissed at everything. And so what I would do is I would take Ted Nugent records, because at least he played loud, but he just sang about rocking and chicks. And I was too mad. I didn't care about songs about rock and chicks. I wanted songs about anarchy, devastation, depression, and shit burning. And no one did it. No one did it. It's like a vacuum. It's like Steve Miller. You're like, please. And I still have the Steve Miller records. I like the Steve Miller records, but I don't play them when I'm pissed. So in any case, I used to take my little General Electric record player, force the speakers in, nearly breaking them off their little hinges, put on the live Ted Nugent record, turn it on 11 so it would distort, and yell my own lyrics over this caterwaul of distorted noise. My mother would come in, find me leaning over my dresser, go like, fuck you, I hate everyone, fuck, ah! She's like, what are you doing, father? Expressing myself. Well, express yourself somewhere else. So